we need lithium, and we're going to find lithium, right? Where are we located? In Canada. Why does that matter? Canada is one of the last major locales in the world that is unexplored for lithium. Up until now, every lithium discovery that you think of in Canada, Whabouchi, when you think of Tanco, when you think of all of these deposits, the Sear project in Quebec, those were projects that were discovered 50 years ago, and they were, for all intents and purposes, unfortunate accidents. People were looking for other commodities. They were not looking for lithium. And so we were one of the first companies to take a very large-scale approach towards lithium exploration. And Canada is one of the best environments to go ahead and explore. John mentioned that we're active in Quebec. Yes, we have one of the best portfolios in Quebec and some of the best jurisdictions in zip codes in that province. But it's more than that. We are active in Ontario, we are active in Manitoba, we are active in Saskatchewan, and we are still growing the company. What we've really focused on is exploration for pegmatite. We've been mining them for 100 years. We are going to continue mining them for 100 more years. It is a clean, dependable source of lithium that happens to be in stable jurisdictions. What we're focused on is targeted exploration. Our team has compiled hundreds of pegmatite targets that have not seen any work across the James Bay, across Ontario, across Manitoba, and across Saskatchewan. In James Bay here, we have over 250 different pegmatites measuring a minimum strike length of 500 meters. The type of pegmatites that are going to be potentially mines. There's a lot of work being done out there by a lot of companies, but you'll often see intercepts that contain a lot of lithium over a meter width. This is not gold. This is an industrial commodity. You need large-scale deposits. We have gone and acquired and consolidated the Canadian grassroots lithium exploration market on a scale that has never been seen before across any commodity. You will not find a similar company in the gold space. You will not find a similar company in the base metal space. Why? Because this is still at its infancy. Most of these pegmatites were identified previously, yet no one has spent any time actually exploring for them. By way of example, we're going to come back to this package. We're in James Bay still. This is the James Bay Galaxy. It's had many names. Right now it's James Bay Lithium. It's owned by a US $5 billion company called Alchem. They are putting this into production next year. It is going into construction right now. You can see there's an amalgamation of drill holes kind of centered around a white outcrop. The pegmatite outcrops on surface. All of our targets outcrop on surface. They are directly accessible by chopper or by road. But in this context over here, they decided to go drilling, do a bit of exploration drilling 5 years ago. And so they marched that drill rig off to the east there, intercepted pegmatites, intercepted lithium mineralization, and never bothered to consolidate the district. We actually own the claims directly to the east of them, and we're going to start drilling there because they found pegmatites 100 meters from the property boundary, and we're going to go ahead and close that gap on our side, starting off with a fence of 5 drill holes 50 meters from our property boundary and another set of 5 drill holes another 150 meters from the property boundary. After that, we're going to move to Hearst in Ontario, where we have another pegmatite on the side of the Trans-Canadian Highway. You have cell phone reception directly on this pegmatite. You know what? Once again, it's never been drilled. You can see right here, this whole area now has been stripped back for logging by logging companies. This pegmatite is 85 meters long, 25 meters wide. It's never been drilled. It was discovered 20 years ago. It's in an area that is about 10 kilometers long by 3 kilometers wide, where we see evolved pegmatites. We see pegmatites that carry the same signature as this lithium-bearing pegmatite right here. We're now seeing other companies move in the area. Piedmont is turning out to be one of our neighbors around here over the last few months. We are pushing an aggressive program. We've recently completed more staking across Canada as we expanded further west into Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Right here in Saskatchewan, we have 20 minutes north of Foran, which is a $400 million market cap VMS being put into production. We have the Hanson Lake Pegmatite field. Right on the side of the road, you walk 20 minutes into the bush, and you are standing on spodumene-bearing pegmatites, lithium-bearing pegmatites, that have not seen a single drill hole. The longest and largest one being 1,300 meters long by 15 meters wide. No drill holes on it. We're going to be drilling this in June. Our program is focused on exploration, but on a scale that almost dwarfs the imagination. Across our entire portfolio in Canada, we now have over 600 individual pegmatites that have not seen any work. Our compilation work is still growing. It is still continuing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grow lithium exploration in Canada. Why hasn't that been the case? Two reasons. The majors, the ones who are already producing or already have assets, are focused on development. They never really took any time to go ahead and look for new deposits. Best example, let's go back to Alchem. They drilled those holes on their property boundary 5 years ago. It's public information. They never bothered to consolidate around them. Why? Because they were focused on execution. Same thing with Piedmont, same thing with Lithium America, same thing with Alchem, same thing with Sayona. All of these companies have been focused so much on execution that they took no time to actually figure out, hey, where are their new assets? Let alone the Rio Tintos of this world, let alone the BHP. They're even further behind on the curve. We are going to see massive consolidation in this industry as we start to see companies move down and look to say, well, great, I developed this mine. How am I going to continue growing? Well, Brunswick Exploration is in the perfect position to capture any of that interest. We have the portfolio equivalent of 50 different companies. So I say to potential investors the same thing. You know, junior market, grassroots exploration, it's tough. You got to own so many different companies in the hope that one of them is going to work. Well, Brunswick offers a different opportunity, a different way of playing the lithium market. In a single company, you get all of this exposure. You get exposure to so many different projects. It's like investing almost in 50 different juniors in the space, just inside Brunswick, let alone all of these late-stage assets that we're going to be drilling this year. This year, as I mentioned at the start, we're going to be launching the largest lithium grassroots exploration program in North America. It's going to be focused on working all of these pegmatite targets that we have in Quebec that have never seen anyone land on them. It's going to focus in Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. If this was the gold space, if this was the copper space, it would take us decades to go ahead and explore for this. Not so when it comes to lithium exploration. We can key in on certain, we'll call them pathfinder elements, that allow us in a matter of minutes to ascertain whether the pegmatite has any potential. I know I was with the team last year. We were on a set of projects on the North Shore of Quebec, and in a matter of 3 days, we had visited 60 different pegmatites and had been able to focus on the ones that were of higher interest and discard the ones that weren't there. And that's the reality of grassroots exploration. You're looking at a 1% to 2% success rate. Well, if you start with a large enough number, those numbers play in your favor. That's why it's such a unique opportunity in the lithium space. I want to spend the last 2 minutes here talking about two different properties. First one is going to be Mirage. This is one I actually kind of like. Bob Wares, our chairman, 20 years ago, Geo walked into his office with a big rock of spodumene and said, what are we going to do with this? Bob at the time had Wabushi, couldn't sell it to the market, decided to sell that off and find Canadian Malartic, an acceptable discovery. And instead, when we started Brunswick Exploration and gave it a lithium focus, reached out to this this geologist and said, yeah, no one's ever gone to find the source of this boulder. It's 5 meters by 4 meters by 3 meters large, long, and wide, and it's filled with spodumene in an area that has seen no work. We're extremely excited to go working up over there. I think it's going to lead to a rapid discovery once we start working that whole area this summer. But we also have a very large land package around Corvette. This is obviously one of the hottest zip codes in the world, period. We have a number of pegmatites hosted in the exact same shear zone that Corvette is in, so that would be the Plex property. We also have pegmatites directly to the north of CV5, again in a quote-unquote hot zone, that have never seen a geologist walk on them. It's absolutely shocking. We're going to go ahead and fix that this summer. We're going to go ahead and walk on them. So, you know, I keep coming back to it. Brunswick is going to be one of the most aggressive companies in the lithium space. And I'm going to have to disagree with John on one point. He said Canadian companies were asleep at the switch when it came to lithium exploration. Well, I beg to differ. Brunswick was not. We have a portfolio that eclipses any other Aussie junior company, and so have become the preferred way to play grassroots exploration for lithium.